Today, guys, we are doing an Arsenal tier list going into the new season. I'm really excited to do this. We've got the whole squad, hopefully the whole squad. There might be one or two academy players or something like that missing, but in general, we've got 5 tiers: crucial, keep, undecided, loan, and sell. And I'm just going to be brutal. I might throw in a couple of players that I think we could sign to replace the players that I'm saying sell or loan. But in general, it's just to see what we've got right now and where I think we should be going in the next few weeks as we go into the summer window. Thank you to Stephen for recommending this. He sent me the tier list and I had to do it. I love these things and we are going to get straight into it. As I said, we're going to be a bit brutal. The first one for me is going to be Ben White. He is in keep. I don't see him as an absolute crucial player. He's a player that can play centre-back, right-back. He is a centre-back playing at right-back to a very high level. But I do believe if we were to somehow lose him or whatever, I think we would probably be fine and that he is replaceable. And I think that's where the level is difference between keep and crucial. If you've got a player that's crucial, they're almost unreplaceable or irreplaceable, I should say. They're not someone you can afford to lose. Whereas keep, they're players that you obviously want at the club, but you could live without. Up next is Gabriel. For me, he is crucial. There's a reason teams like PSG and I believe Bayern, I believe Barcelona, they're all interested in Gabriel. He's had a fantastic season for us. He is a crucial player. Now, we might leave the academy players. You know, we've got Aziz here. I think I'm going to leave some of the academy players until last. So we're going to skip through to Emile Smith-Rowe here. For me, he's a keep. And the reason I would keep him is because he's so young. I mean, I was almost tempted to put him into sell because I think he might be leaving. But that's not what I would want to do. I've got to do this from my own perspective. For me, with young players like Emile Smith-Rowe, he could have gone a few seasons ago. I remember Aston Villa were interested and we almost did it, I think. We've kept on to him for a reason. He's a very good player. He's our number 10. He wears the number 10 shirt and he's got quality. And I think one more season. I think next season it's a good chance for him to prove himself. I think he will end up playing in a slightly deeper role for us. I don't see him as a Martinelli left winger. I see him actually more kind of where Granit Xhaka was playing, kind of like the opposite of Ødegaard, you know, like the right-footed Ødegaard. We'll see what happens with him. Vieira. Yeah, I've got to be brutal. I'm very undecided on Vieira. And the reason for that is his weakness. And I mean that literally. Weakness. He's not physical enough. The thing is, you can get away with it if you play in certain roles, in certain positions where physicality isn't the most important thing. And I think he can do that. And that's why it's just undecided. Similar to Smith-Rowe, I think another year is vital in this guy's career. It's tempting, actually, to say we loan him. I would never sell him. Not yet. It's way too soon to do that. But the reason I'm going to go undecided is because he is a very new player to us. He's only been here a year. And I think it's way too early to decide anything. Now, Jesus, not his best ever season. He started very strongly at Arsenal, and that would have probably made me decide to keep him as a crucial player. But part of me is thinking, actually, maybe he's just a keep. I'm being very brutal, aren't I? This is Jesus, the guy that joined and changed our fortunes, right? But realistically, we played a large portion of the season without him. And we were kind of okay with just Nketiah, and I wouldn't want to do that forever. But I am of the opinion that at some point, we will need to bring in a new number 9. I'm going to leave him in keep. Genuinely, I don't know how I feel about it yet. We might have to come back and change some of these. Holding for me would be a sell. One of the longest serving players at the club, bought by Wenger. Not a bad player. He just isn't a bad player, but I could see him slotting in very nicely at an Everton, a Wolves, even like an Aston Villa or something like that. A team that are playing good football, want someone experienced, and he's a professional. And I've got nothing against Rob Holding, but I just feel like with where we are now as a club, we can do better, and it's time to move on from players like Holding. Tierney. I want him here. I want to keep Tierney, because I really like him. But it's very clear that the system we play and the way Arteta wants to play, it isn't working. So it is unfortunately going to be sell. I think he's worth the most he's going to be worth. His contract's running down. There's no way he would sign a new contract. I think we let him go. And I think we invest in a new left back. But who knows if that's actually going to happen. I'm going to keep going through some of the main first team players. So we'll go to Martinelli next. For me, he is crucial. He's a player that cannot be replaced right now. If you wanted to sign Martinelli from Arsenal, you are looking at upwards of 80 to 100 million pounds. He's a crucial player for us on that left side. And we're blessed in that department now with Trossard coming in. Cedric is definitely a sell, and I believe it was just a loan to Fulham. There wasn't an obligation to buy, was there? So we are going to have to deal with him, but he is definitely a sell. Keep. I mean, he's a good he's a good lad, Matt Turner, isn't he? I like him. He's a likeable guy, and he's a good backup goalkeeper, and that's all I need to say. El Neni, keep for another season. I don't see why not. It's not a bad idea. Pepe would be a sell. And then I've got Nketiah. I know some of these faces are off behind my camera. Nketiah would be a keep for me, at least for another season. I don't think he's ever going to be the Arsenal number 9, but he's the kind of player that every club needs. Someone that can come on and change a result, or can play for a couple of weeks when there's an injury and get you goals. I think I'm going to have to start doing these academy. It's annoying me, though, because I've done the main first team players first. Let's just keep going. We have Ødegaard up next. I mean, I would argue he should be first. He is our most crucial player, with one other player, which, of course, we'll get to. I absolutely love Ødegaard. Captain material or what? At 23, 24? Unbelievable. Such a good player. Now, this one's difficult because Partey is rumoured to potentially be leaving, and I wouldn't, okay? And I'm not going to talk about the allegations and what's going on off the pitch. We're talking about Thomas Partey, the footballer here, and there's no doubt that throughout this season he would have been, and is, and was, one of our crucial players. But I think at this point he would be just a keep for me. That I don't want to sell Partey, but I do have a feeling that because of the off-field problems, the allegations and whatever, you can do your own research, but it's not great. I've got a feeling the club are potentially looking to move him on. It's not a nice thing to have, is it? It's kind of like a cloud over the club or over the player, and there's no doubt it must have been on his mind, but what a season he had. Up until the last 5-6 games, Partey was incredible, but for me, he would be a keep. We've got Ramsdale up next. He is a crucial player for me. I love what Ramsdale offers us, the way that we can pass it out from the back, the way that he is becoming a bit of a leader at the club. You can see that he is going to be a future captain or vice captain or whatever. It depends how long Ødegaard's at the club, but I love Ramsdale. There are some question marks for me over some of his decision-making and sometimes where he's positioned himself in the box or whatever, and he does make mistakes. There's no denying it, but for me, he's one of the best young goalkeepers in the league. He's been through a lot in his career. He's very experienced, and a lot of it was negative. So I feel like all he can experience now is positive, right? And he's doing very, very well. He's already got that new contract, and he hasn't been at the club that long. It's just 2 seasons. Up next, we have Reiss Nelson. I think he's a keep. I think, the fact that he could be leaving on a free is a little bit of a shame, because he's worth money. And I know it's horrible to say it like that, but unfortunately, football is, a lot of it's business, and players are assets. And the way I see it, Nelson leaving on a free, it's just like what happened with Ramsey. We're losing a really good player on a different level. I think, Ramsey was at the very top of his career, the peak of his career, whereas Reiss Nelson's kind of going into the main portion of that mid-20s into his peak. We're losing a player for free that could become one of our important players. And I just think we have to give him a new contract. And I think we've offered it, and I'm hoping he'll sign it. Up next is Saka. I mean, him or Ødegaard as the most crucial players. I don't know, but Saka is Arsenal. He is this modern Arsenal. He is star boy. He's the poster boy. He's who you go to watch at the Emirates. He's just signed a new contract as well. Reports are that it's something like 300 grand a week, but I don't know if I actually believe that. I've got a feeling that would have been too much for Arsenal. But then again, going into the Champions League, it's unleashed a new financial powerhouse potentially. I don't know. But Saka is, of course, a crucial player for us. Next is Saliba. I think he goes in here. We need to tie him down. I'm hearing reports that he wants too much money. And the club aren't willing to pay that much, which it's difficult because, let's face it, he's had one top season at Arsenal. He's had top seasons at other clubs, but in terms of Premier League, Arsenal, 12 months of really, really good performances. And let's face it, when he was injured, we did this. And I think he can probably use that in his negotiations that you need me, boss. Like, you clearly needed me. Pay the man what he wants. Pay him whatever Gabriel's on, I feel like. Or if Gabriel's on less than what Saliba's asking for, you've got to rationalise it and think he is worth it. Because Saliba, let's face it, if he signs a brand new contract this summer, let's say we tie him down for another 4 seasons, he's worth 100 million plus. Simple as that, because you just can't buy out a player that easily. And he is one of, if not the best, young centre-backs throughout this year. There's no question. So he absolutely has to sign a new deal. Up next, we've got Sambi Lokonga. I'm undecided on Sambi Lokonga. Same as Vieira. A loan wouldn't hurt, maybe. But I also feel like we're going to be investing in our midfield a lot this summer, and he might as well not be here or be here. I don't feel like there's any point in loaning him because he's at that age now where if he's going to make it at Arsenal, I think he has to do it soon. I think that's similar to Fabio Vieira, really. I think a lot of the loan deals I'm going to be talking about are obviously the academy players. We've got Tomiyasu up next. He is a keep. I wouldn't say he's a crucial player. And part of me thinks that he's not better than Ben White at right back, and Ben White isn't even a right back, And I think Tomiyasu is a great player, but we haven't seen quite enough. I feel like worth keeping for sure as a squad player. I love the fact that he's versatile. I watched him play when I went to the Emirates for the Liverpool game. He was playing left back. He basically kept Salah quiet the entire game. And the fact that he can do that and he can play centre back as well, you could probably throw him in midfield. He would do a very good job for you. And he's a model professional, and I like him. That's the thing. I like Tomiyasu, but I wouldn't expect him to be at Arsenal for the rest of his career. I think he will eventually be found out, if that makes sense. I don't think he's at the level we're maybe looking for, but it's still early days with him, so I don't want to be too harsh. Granit Xhaka, he's already leaving. I would probably keep him for another season if I could, because he's just had an incredible season. Why let him go now? But it's very clear that he's getting to that age now where he isn't getting younger. He is 30, 31. His family want to move. That's reportedly the reason why he's leaving, because his family want to go back to Germany. Let him go. It's fine. I think he's earned the right to leave. He's had an incredible arc at Arsenal. Loved, hated, loved. But yeah, clearly it is time for him to move on, and I would let him go. And then up next, I would go with Zinchenko. I'm tempted to put him in crucial because I don't think anyone else in the Premier League can do what he does in that position for Arsenal. It would be very difficult to find another Zinchenko. And I think he is a crucial player just because we don't have anyone else that can do that. But I wouldn't mind putting him in keep either. I feel like he's the lowest crucial. So I think that works where he is there. Jorginho has been fantastic. Really, really good at the end of the season. But part of me thinks that maybe one more year is enough, because obviously he is also getting older and we are investing into our midfield. We are rejuvenating it. It's a big season for him. If he's going to get another year at Arsenal, he has to probably feature in most of the games and do really well. Stay injury-free, whatever. But he's a good player, isn't he? And it's funny, at Chelsea, I always thought, yeah, Jorginho's a good player, but he's not that good. Like, he's okay. But he almost won the Ballon d'Or, and you're just thinking, how did that even happen? And of course, with Italy and with Chelsea, he did very well one year. He's now at Arsenal doing his thing. He's doing a very good job, but he's not spectacular, is he? He's nothing incredible. Trossard up next. I'm going to put him in keep as well. I think Trossard is definitely a keep. I mean, there's no reason to sell him right now. We've had him for 6 months. He came in and got, 10 assists and 1 goal? That's incredible. And he was probably the best signing of the winter window. So, yeah, he would absolutely be keep, but he's not crucial. And then we've got Kivior. I think I've seen enough of Kivior to think that he is that guy. He is the Gabriel backup. Still early days. He hasn't played much, but the games he has played towards the end of the season, I did like him. I did. He's got his first goal now as well. I think there is something there. You can't. Maybe it's just me. I can just see it though. I can see Kivior being a very important player for us in the future, and again, very versatile. So now we're left with a lot of players that are either out on loan or academy players. Aziz would be a sell. I have to try and remember every single one of these players' name. Their names will probably evade me. We've got Norton Cuffy. He is absolutely a keep. I really like Norton Cuffy. I think he's going to be a very important player. But if we're looking at right backs, I do feel for him. He must be thinking, come on, man. Like, I just played in a really good Coventry side this season. We got to the playoff final. Come on, like, am I not enough? You know, we're getting linked with other right backs. It must be tough, that. But I would keep him, for sure. Or maybe loan is better. I don't think he should be in the squad now that I think of it. I don't think he should be in the squad next season, but a loan for sure. Just maybe one more season. And I would say the same for Patino, but apparently he's leaving. Apparently Patino wants to play first team football next season as a high level as possible. And I get it, but it's like, you can clearly see our midfield is a little bit fractured at the moment. This is your chance, Charlie. Come on, Patino, you can do this. But no, I think apparently he wants to leave, and that does kind of hurt. I do believe that there's a huge future ahead for Patino, and I want it to be at Arsenal. But I don't think it's going to happen. Up next, we have Nwaneri. Nwaneri, the youngest player to play in the Premier League, I think ever, was it? When he came on as a sub against Brentford? I think he was 15 years old and 300 days. It's ridiculous, right? Obviously, I would say we need to loan him / keep him, but reports are that Man City want him, and they've got an incredible academy and Pep and all the trophies. And yeah, it can't be easy, can it, when you get approached by Man City and you've got this project and the chance to work with Pep. And I do get it, but I almost feel like, come on, we've got Arteta. We've got a project going on here. Okay, we didn't win the Premier League recently. It's been 20 years, and okay, we only really seem to win the FA Cup, and but we're so close. I just want these guys to stay and go out on loan or whatever. And it's probably not going to happen, is it? I think Nwaneri is probably going to leave. I'm forgetting this guy's name. It's difficult when you don't see them talked about too much. We'll move on, and I'll maybe remember it later. Marquinhos. I would loan him again. I feel like potentially he could be part of the squad next season. I think he did very well at Norwich at first, but maybe another loan for him. Maitland-Niles would be a sell, and I believe he is going to be released. So he'll either stay at Southampton or try and get an offer somewhere else. Balogun has had a very good season in France, and I would like to say we keep him, but I'm hearing he's leaving, and I wouldn't be against it. I think Nketiah is clearly ahead of him, and Folarin Balogun wants to play, so I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. We've got Smith, sell. I don't really think he's at that level. Rekic, I would loan. I've heard he's actually doing very well. He's developing well. Walters, I would loan or sell. I've heard that he could be being sold. I don't know. We'll have to see with him. Trusty. Do you know what? He did all right at Birmingham, didn't he? And I don't see the harm in loaning him again. Seems like he could be a solid option at some point for us. He's still relatively young, but being honest, he's probably not going to be playing for Arsenal, is he? So maybe that's a sell. I'm going to put him in loan for now. See, I'm confused with these two. I know that's Tavares, obviously. Tavares would be... I think I'm undecided with Tavares, actually. I do like him. I like the rawness. But I think maybe his football IQ isn't quite there for what we do, for what Arsenal do, in the way that we play. And I know that sounds really harsh, but he seems very erratic to me. And yeah, I think that's a good position to put him in. I am very undecided on him. I don't think a loan and I don't think a key, but it's difficult, isn't it? I want to say one of these players is Kozia Dewberry, who I know is going to be an absolutely quality player. And is the other one Sousa? I'm not sure, but I do know that both these players are potentially very good players. So I would go ahead and put these guys in loan. But obviously I've named 2 players. It might not be right, but I'm very happy with this. I don't think there's anything I would change. Got just a couple of players there that might not be here in a year or two because of age. And then you've got a couple of players that you could argue have maybe one more season to prove themselves. Players like Emil Smith-Rowe, like, is he really going to kick on? Reece Nelson? I don't know. But I think I'm happy with that. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video. It's instead of Operation Arsenal, we've got 10 weekends of no Arsenal. Oh my God. Well, no competitive games. But obviously pre-season will start soon. And I'm going to be making videos on new signings when we get them. I can't wait to release the Declan Rice video. Hopefully that will be soon. Thank you for watching, guys. And I will see you next time.